world of fake news, this is news you can trust. Shilling for big satire since 2016. You're listening to the Babylon Bee with your hosts, Kyle Mann and Ethan Nicole.
Hey guys, welcome to the Babylon Bee Community Church. I'm your very excited youth pastor, Kyle.
And I'm his wife, Karen. They always have a really nice wife standing there with a huge smile and rosy cheeks.
I like on the ads for those churches when the wife always has her arms around the husband's...
Yeah, they're in the back.
Yeah.
She's behind him.
She's like riding on him like Yoda. And she does like the... and it'll say pastors.
There's always sun beaming out from behind them. Like that's God.
Pastors Bob and Cindy.
Yeah, it's always Cindy. And I noticed when I was a kid, and I don't know if this is just an 80s thing, but how many pastors were named Ken and Mel? Is that a lot?
I knew a Mel, but he was the tech guy. I didn't know a pastor.
I don't know any Mels that weren't pastors. Pastor Mel, not Gibson, but Mel something.
What race were they?
White.
The only Mel I knew was
Aryan.
The only Mel I knew was a black man.
Huh.
So
I don't know what's Mel short for. Melvin? Mm-hmm. Probably, huh?
Mel. Yeah, must be Melvin.
Who looks at a newborn human being and goes, Melvin?
Looks like a Melvin to me.
Melvin.
You can tell. Anyway,
well,
we're really excited that you're here. We're so excited.
We are. Dear.
Are you guys ready to worship Jesus? I said, are you guys ready to worship Jesus?
I am. This feels weird.
I can't hear you.
I don't know why I jumped into being your wife.
Yeah, I made it.
I don't want to say anything.
You made it awkward.
Yeah, I did. You didn't warn me we were going into this.
I'm really uncomfortable right now.
This is my new thing. Is I've decided
was Dan given permission to speak?
I come up with an intro thing, and I just dump it. I like to just dump it on you.
And then see what happens to me. It's like your little experiment.
We're doing improv here.
All right. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry.
Welcome to
the Babylon Bee podcast.
Yeah, our improv session. So yeah, we have a cool episode today. We're going to be meeting with the guy who explodes unicorns for a living. His name's James Breakwell. And we talked about that in another, I think maybe last podcast, we were joking around about that last name. How maybe breaking wells is like the job that his family had. They had to go around breaking wells.
Yeah, because we had interviewed him previously and then made the joke about him even though we hadn't.
Our chronology's all messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to talk about being dads mostly. It's a lot of dad talk.
Yeah, the guy's an internet humorist, and he draws, I don't know if draws is the right words, but he does publish comics. And
viral humorist.
Yeah, so it was a really good conversation. We're all fathers, so a lot of discussion of fatherhood.
Fatheriness. Very silly. It's a very silly conversation. A lot of dad jokes passed around the table.
Father Enos sounds like the name of a priest or something.
Father Enos? Oh, Father Enos. Yeah, okay. I am Father Enos.
Hey, you usually get a monopoly on those kinds of jokes. You're like, hey, that sounds like this.
I know.
And so I wanted to horn in on your territory.
Thank you.
Stay out of my territory. Hey, that's another audio clip we need. Breaking Bad.
Do we?
Not really. That's probably the only time it would ever apply.
All right. Well, first, before we get to our hard-hitting interview with James Breakwell talking about dad stuff, are you ready to jump into stories of the week, Kyle?
I sure am. I'm so excited.
Every week, there are stories. These are some of them.
Gardener in background of Kaepernick video receives call from Washington Redskins. Now, I know Ethan's going to have a lot of thoughts on this, being a huge sports fan.
What exactly is a Kaepernick? Is that kind of like a leprechaun?
What is a Washington Redskin?
Thing that runs across the screen?
Yes.
There have been Kaepernick.
That's exactly what it is.
Sorry. No, I have my only Kaepernick joke is that he has a giant afro. And then it weighs him down, so he has to kneel down. That's all I got.
Did we ever do that joke?
No.
Oh, we should have done it.
It didn't get enough likes, I don't think.
Oh.
Such a dad joke.
Yeah. Well.
But I could Photoshop his fro huge. No, I don't care. I'm not holding on to it.
That'll be some bonus content for subscribers. Yeah. The Photoshop of...
That's the glory of the podcast. You can hear all the jokes we didn't get to make.
Yeah, if you want to hear all the jokes that weren't good enough to make it on the Babylon Bee,
we squeeze them in.
Listen to our podcast.
But this is one of those jokes you have to explain to me. So when I do the Photoshop, you're like, this is what's happening in the sports world. This Colin Kaepernick guy
exactly.
He's not getting accepted to teams, but he really wants to be. Something like that.
I'm not sure that he actually wants to be.
Okay.
But he is putting himself out there. He did this whole workout video that he sent to all the NFL teams and said, hire me. It was like Uncle Rico in...
he sends a workout video to teams?
Napoleon Dynamite. Yeah.
Is that normal? Is that protocol?
I don't know if that's normal. It's probably fairly common, but...
I just wanted to send this video of me working out. It's...
Well, you guys are the ones who gave your demo tape to Switchfoot.
That's true.
Is this any different?
You casually drop it when you're Kohler Kaepernick.
Kohler Kaepernick?
Kohler Kaepernick.
That's like the version where we don't want to get sued, and so we make it Kohler Kaepernick.
Kohler Schnabernack. Well, no, it just seems funny, like, okay, I don't really want to be on a team, but I did want to drop by this video of me working out.
Yeah. Well, he thrives on the...
For your pleasure.
He thrives on the controversy, and then nobody wants to touch him because he's so controversial. And then it's like, oh, all these people are racist. They didn't hire me. You know, that kind of... So anyway, he does this video, and one of the receivers in the video, you know... So in football, Ethan, there's a quarterback who throws the ball, and then there are these receivers who... Receive the ball. Yeah, they go out and they catch it. And so this guy's kind of a background player in the video.
It's kind of like giving birth.
Because Kaepernick is trying to highlight how good he can throw. And this guy's just going out and catching the passes.
Gotcha.
And that guy got signed.
Oh, that really happened?
Yeah, that guy got signed onto an NFL team.
Oh, I thought you were just being a jerk with this story.
And so then the joke is Gardner walks by and then he gets signed. I think the funny thing too is that it's probably on AstroTurf.
Oh.
And yet he's mowing.
Somebody's knocking on our door in the middle of recording. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi. This is our...
We got mail. It's a rare day that we got mail.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, this is from Stand to Reason.
Stand to Reason. We're going to have Greg Kokel on. I can't wait.
That's probably what this is.
He's going to drop some mad apologetics.
This is Greg Kokel's book, Tactics, Updated and Expanded.
All right, cool. He's going to teach us how to convert atheists.
A game plan for discussing your
atheist
Christian
minds.
Convictions. That'll be next week's episode, maybe?
Yeah, we don't want to make any guarantees, ever.
I don't know. That might be the week we have to post a Christmas one, depending. No.
We don't know. We could talk about this not while we're recording.
Anyway.
Probably.
Anyway.
How about the next story? Or are we done explaining that one? Anything else? Colin Kaepernick?
So Kaepernick was the guy who was kneeling. He did the whole kneeling.
Yeah, he's the kneeling guy.
For the anthems, yeah. And
he's one of the few sports people I know the name of and face of.
I actually don't. You know, a lot of people are like, I hate this guy. He knelt for the anthem. I think it's a free country, and if he wants to do that, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't care.
But then, you know, if that becomes too controversial for teams, then don't complain that no one wants to hire you. I mean,
yeah, exactly. If that's the thing you're going to do,
it's cool.
Whatever. Deal with it, bro.
You know, believe in something.
Yeah.
Even if it means sacrificing everything. Just do it.
That was the Nike ad. I'm sure he got no money for.
I got to say, I'm really impressed with how informed you are on this story, Ethan.
What?
You remember that this is the Nike ad? You knew
because I make jokes about all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
No, I made that because I made a meme of that with Jim Jones. And it said, believe in something.
Oh.
It was really dark.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was doing the believe in something memes. That's right. Anyway, go ahead. What's the next story?
Oh, man. This is more territory for me. Rise of Skywalker to introduce first lesbian at. I was wondering, I just threw in, I was going to go, I could say AT or at. Which one is it?
It's AT.
Oh, dang it. I screwed it up.
I've heard some people call it at, but I always call it AT. It's like all-terrain assault transport or maybe all-terrain armored transport. I think there has been some debate.
Why is there one dash?
It's like, I don't know. I guess it looks cool. All-terrain.
Is all-terrain one word?
No.
So for normal people who don't know what Star Wars is, this is a giant walking robot in Star Wars. So you guys know. Just trying to help out normal people who aren't nerds.
Well, you don't have to really be a nerd to know that, because this was in the most popular Star Wars film. I didn't know. Scene.
I watched Return of the Jedi multiple times. This is the one I watched the most as a kid because I loved the Ewoks.
Uh-huh.
And I never knew those things were called at-ats until you guys did a joke about it. And I was like, what is an at-at? It sounds like a...
Well, they weren't really featured in...
It sounds like an Indonesian primate or something.
They weren't really featured in Return of the Jedi. They might have had some in there, but it wasn't.
Oh.
It was more the AT...
They're in there, right?
The AT-STs are the ones in Return of the Jedi more. Because those are the chicken walkers that the Ewoks go
Are they
on.
similar?
Well, they're big robots, sure. Those are the two-legged ones that Yeah, those are the AT-STs.
Wait.
All-terrain scout transport.
Oh, yeah, the AT-AT has 4 legs. They're the same. They're close enough. Come on. Okay,
I mean, they're completely different. You know, one's for use for scouting and one's more for a direct assault.
They both look like farm animals that got turned into a robot, and they shoot lasers out of their
farm animal is an AT-AT?
With a face of like a Shy Guy from Mario 2. Well, there's a reference.
I'm sorry. My wife texted me. What?
The Shy Guy from Mario 2. Remember the Shy Guy?
Yeah. What does that have to do with?
I always thought their face looks like Shy Guy. Anyway, sorry. That was really off
kind of the blank black eyes. Sure.
Yeah, just blank. And I think there's a newer thing with that face like that in anime or something.
I've seen that. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Yeah. If you know what it is, let us know. Shy Guys, actually, Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah, I loved Mario Brothers 2.
So that wasn't a Mario game originally.
I was obsessed with that. Yeah, it's just so weird. You pull up turnips and throw them. I'm a plumber, so
it was a different game.
Turnips up.
So it was a different game in Japan, and the actual Super Mario Brothers 2, Japan decided it was too hard for an American audience. So really? they took some completely different game.
So does it exist somewhere now? You can download it?
Yeah, it's Toki Tori or something. I'm going to mess it up, but something like that, yeah.
Wow.
So the actual Super Mario Brothers 2 has been released now in America as Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Okay, we are going off on all sorts of tangents.
The Rise of Skywalker supposedly is going to have some LGBTQ representation, according to J.J. Abrams. Hence, AT-AT.
I did like your Photoshop, which I got a lot of credit for.
Yeah, that's your favorite of my Photoshops, is when you get a lot of credit. The pink.
I don't know what you call that hairdo. The lesbian hairdo.
I jumped on the grenade of in the morning searching lesbian haircuts on Google. It was I do it all for the people. I do it for you guys. So thank me for my service.
I feel like that haircut is pretty popular across most. Like a lot of dudes have that kind of lesbian swoop going on.
The lesbian swoop.
Yeah.
Well, it was hard because it's just kind of a general progressive looking haircut.
Yeah.
So you have to how do you get an actual lesbian? I think
dyeing it pink was smart. Yeah.
Pink, yeah. Anyway.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, that's
good. Great progress in the Star Wars universe. Thank you.
Yeah.
Story number 3. Bombshell report reveals Trump has been mooching off Pence's Netflix account for years.
Bombshell.
The
walls are closing in.
Mm-hmm.
This is the beginning of the end.
Explosive. I don't know.
It's all over.
Hard hitting.
Game over.
You have way more of these than I do.
# Trump resign now.
Mike Pence is preparing to take over.
Yeah.
Because Trump is going to be out any minute now.
That was basically the feeling I got from every bombshell that has been released from this impeachment hearing.
We have that audio, but I'm wondering if this plays...
Let's do it.
My only fear is if it plays, YouTube might flag it because it's a YouTube video audio clip. We could just try and see what happens.
Let's do it.
Breaking news.
A bombshell.
Today is a turning point. Today was historically bad for President Trump.
Today was
if we talk over him and miss it.
We're at a turning point here.
The beginning of the end for the Trump presidency.
We have another bombshell.
Mike Pence might have to assume the office of the presidency.
Rumblings of the word impeachment.
Breaking news.
Another
Rumblings.
bombshell out of the White House.
I believe this is the beginning of the end.
I do too.
It's really the beginning of the end.
I do too.
Maybe he's feeling the walls closing in on him.
All the walls closing in on him.
The walls closing
in on him.
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says this means the beginning of the end for President Donald Trump.
Trump will resign.
Trump is going to resign.
Is this the tipping point? I know we've said it over and over.
You think this is a tipping point?
And over.
Are we going to go the whole thing?
This is a tipping point.
And over and over.
Breaking news, President Trump off the rails.
This is the beginning of the end today.
The beginning of the end. Breaking news tonight, new bombshell.
So I saw this video clip on Twitter. Eric Erickson, the conservative dude, shared it. I don't know who actually compiled it, if he did or not, but he shared it on Twitter, and it got 20,000, 30,000 retweets. Everybody. And these are clips going back like 2 or 3 years of it's just the same talking point. Bombshell. The beginning of the end.
Yeah.
The walls.
And it's always something like if another president had done it, it would not be a bombshell.
Not at all. Yeah. Yeah. It's not that I don't think Trump does bad things. Like I think he probably has done some horrible things. But it's just when we get mad about that, but not other things. It's just
Trump is silly, and it gets kind of tiring making fun of that. And he almost like makes it so you're kind of lame if you do, because he's already like ahead of you.
Yeah.
But the media's response to Trump is incredibly silly as well.
Yeah.
And no one's joking about it as much. So it's like, it's more ripe for the jokes, I think, or something.
Yeah. We might have mentioned it here before, but Frank's observation that this is a comedy.
Yeah.
This is a comedy, but the media treats it like it's a drama. And that's where all the humor comes from the media. Is just, it's like Trump doing all this crazy stuff, and the media's like, this is so serious. And like, maybe he's just a goofball. I don't know.
Yeah, every tweet has to be taken so seriously.
Did you see the one where Brian Stelter was counting all the Trump typos? And it was like on his Sunday CNN show, Reliable Sources. And there's this great picture of him, a screenshot of him from his show. He's standing there, and there's this chart, and it's like a detailed graph of all the typos on Trump's Twitter account.
Wow. That's so, yeah.
There have been some memorable typos. Covfefe was a good one.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was just...
It wasn't even a typo.
Yeah, I don't know. That just seemed like a tweet that he just passed out in the middle of. Have you been like on Twitter or whatever, and like you're starting to fall asleep, and then you realize you like touched stuff while you were falling asleep?
Yeah, and it's just like a mess of letters.
Yeah. That's what I guess happened there. That's my guess.
Okay, here the tweet was, despite the constant negative press, Covfefe.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I love that it just drops off.
Passed out. I'm still, yeah. Does anybody? Oh, that's old news, but I'm curious what he was trying to get to there.
It sounded to me like he was trying to say coverage, like despite the constant press coverage, and then he was going to say something else. I was up for like 8 hours. Like you're right, it's totally like he fell asleep. Yeah, because it was like 3 a.m.
It was up for a long time.
It was like 3 a.m. or something. So it's like he fell asleep.
Became a meme overnight. Yeah.
That's so good. I don't know how we're going to explain to our kids.
I know.
In like 20 years.
What this was like to be in the middle of all this.
In the middle of this.
Yeah.
Like how insane it was.
Oh, yeah.
But we're able to laugh. And that's what makes it fun.
It's true. It's true. We should.
It's the true meaning of the season.
To laugh at Trump. To laugh at the whole process.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Speaking of laughter.
You want to talk to famous internet comedian James Breakwell?
Yeah, he's a funny guy, and we try to be funny, and there might be some good laughs in this interview.
Let's do it.
Ready.
Hi, James.
Hey, look, it's James.
Hey. James. One other thing we wanted to mention is that we do have a Babylon Bee store. It's been up for a while, and some people are still emailing us and saying, hey, you guys should have a store. But we already have one. So go to shop.babylonbee.com or just go to babylonbee.com. You can find our store link there, our shop link. We have some cool stuff for the holidays. We have an Everyone is on the Naughty List shirt with a picture of Calvinist Santa, which is just glorious. You can tell those Walmart employees how you feel about happy holidays, because there's one that says, if you say happy holidays, I will punch you in the face. And Ethan's favorite is a shirt that says candy canes are gross. So if you think candy canes are gross, or you just want some cool Christmas stuff, go to shop.babylonbee.com. Probably running out of time to get them in time for the holidays, so do it quickly. We've also got other stuff non-Christmas related. We got a popular one that's got a picture of Mount Rushmore on a shirt, but it's It's got G.K. Chesterton and J.R.R. Tolkien and MacDonald and Lewis on it. So give that a look. Some cool stuff, mugs, hats, lots of fun stuff. So check that out.
Presenting an exclusive Babylon Bee interview.
All right, well, we're sitting here with a comedian of internet fame.
Yes. A man with an insane amount of Twitter followers. I don't get it. I've been working on, I've had a TV show, and I've been trying to get Twitter followers, and I cannot get over, the digits I'm in. I'm stuck there. So I want his secrets. James Breakwell, welcome to the show.
Hi,
thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
That's the introduction.
I like how friendly we are. Our very first thing is saying,
we're just jealous of you.
I don't know how he has so many followers.
How does he do it?
I appreciate the honesty. You got to remember that with the internet,
over 1 million.
Yeah, anything you want is like the monkey's paw. If you want it bad enough, you'll get it. But there are horrible, horrible consequences.
Maybe I don't want it bad enough.
There you go.
But because you're not like Kanye West or something. You got over 1 million followers. It's insane.
Yeah, it's
cool.
But it's real celebrities, they have fame and it bleeds over to Twitter. I just have Twitter and then I try to make it bleed over to real fame. And it's really hard making that process go backwards. The train does not want to go in that direction.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife and I said, look, my tweet got, over 1,000 retweets. Yeah. And she's like, so does that give you any money? Or no.
That happens to me too. My wife, I'll show her, look all the retweets I got. And she's like, good for you. Take the trash out. So you are Exploding Unicorn on Twitter.
Yes.
And our official introduction of you is you're a professional comedy writer and author of several books. And most recently, this is a mouthful, How to Save Your Child from Ostrich Attacks, Accidental Time Travel, and Anything Else That Might Happen on an Average Tuesday.
Yes, it turns out there is not a maximum length for titles. You can just jam as many words in there as you want. My next book is going to be entirely the title. It's just going to be 7,000 words long.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So how prevalent are ostrich attacks, and how worried should we be about that as parents?
Extremely worried. If you're not worried about ostrich attacks, quite frankly, you're a terrible parent. When I go outside, I look around for them. I'm kind of scared of birds in general, but ostriches are definitely at the peak up there. I live in Indianapolis, and there's ostriches at the zoo. You never know when they'll escape. I've been to an ostrich farm before too. I had a relative who was close to one, and those are some freaky birds up close. So it just makes sense that I wrote a manual to protect your kid from them. And I don't know if you looked over that section there, but it's pretty good life-saving advice. If I were an ostrich, I would be pretty worried if I saw somebody holding this book.
They're like sock puppets, but with somebody who had really long, skinny arms.
Yeah, the weird thing was, they had to warn us when we went and looked at it. It's don't get in there with it because it might kick you to death. But if you, how you survive an attack, apparently, is you hold up a broom and it thinks you're a bigger ostrich. And I'm going to go let my dog in. He is freaking out. It took him half an hour to realize I was home, and I'm going to let him out now. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. Yep, sounds good.
I was wondering if that was an ostrich in the background.
One of those barking ostriches?
One of the rare African...
Spotted barking ostriches. Red crested. I was adding red crested to animals.
Yellow bellied barking ostrich.
The yellow bellied.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sucking.
I've been home for half an hour and he didn't notice. I could have, if I were an intruder, I could have murdered the entire family and he would have just slept through it. He is very delayed. If an ostrich attacks us, we will not be able to depend on him for protection. That is for sure.
Yeah, I have a dog who just at the park the other day. There was because we live there, people really like coyotes out here. They name the schools after them. There's statues everywhere. So there's a statue of a coyote in the park.
Yeah.
And my stupid dog would not stop barking at it and trying to stand behind and just convinced it was real and it was just had learned how to put itself into some cryostasis. I don't know what that was going on.
I'm convinced their ignorance is selective though, because they'll bark at the mailman when the mailman's 2 miles away. They just know. Yeah. But one time there was a raccoon on my enclosed back porch, and it came in there and it was eating their dog food. I had 2 dogs back then, and my dogs were sleeping inches away on the other side of a doggy door. Did not wake up. It's oh dogs, you knew what was going on. You just didn't want to get beaten by a raccoon. So I'm pretty sure they're faking it.
Yeah, because I have 2 dogs, and the other one was just dude, it's a statue. Look, I'm standing by it. Just come up here.
How good would your dog have looked, though, if the statue really did come back to life? That would have been his ultimate moment. So don't knock it.
Total redemption.
The one time a statue comes back to life, he's going to be so vindicated.
Mm-hmm. True. Well,
so let's talk about keeping our children alive.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah,
that's the basic requirement for a parent, right?
Yeah, I think there's a huge difference between someone who like is going to be a parent soon or has never had kids, and they're always like, here's all the things I'm going to do for little Sally, and here's all the programs they're going to be in, and here's all the activities they're going to do, and then you have kids, and it's like, I have kept them alive today.
Yeah, they're alive.
Yeah, there definitely should be a pass-fail metric to parenting. If your kid makes it to adulthood, I think you were in some capacity a good parent, or at least an adequate one, and I'm okay with being adequate.
The only thing about that is if there's a parent listening who lost a child, I would feel really bad for them to hear that and go, "Oh, I'm a bad parent."
Why did you have to bring this down?
I brought it down. Sorry.
It's that's the life of a Twitter comedian right there. Tell a joke about anything, literally anything. You're like, hey, you can't joke about peas. My kid died from pea poisoning. Like what? Anything. One time somebody unfollowed me because I let my kids eat corn dogs. Like you never know what's going to set somebody off, and after a while, you just kind of stop killing. You just accept the fact that you're a terrible parent for all kinds of reasons, and you move on.
Yeah, the parenting thing is crazy. My wife will get on these little groups on Facebook, and you can post anything, and there will be a mob of psycho moms who will like tell you you're an evil parent.
Oh yeah,
depending on like the brand of car seat you're using, or what it could be anything. The amount of ways they find to get angry is shocking.
They think they're like saving your child's life. I've written books about saving kids from zombies and ostriches, and I doubt I've really ever saved a child's life. I don't have any illusions about that. But these parents who, like, if you ever post a picture of your kid in the car and they see how you buckled them in a car seat, like they will scream at you or in all caps type at you that your kid is going to die. There was a huge controversy a few years ago. I posted my kids wearing coats and car seats, and people just went nuts. And I finally just started blocking people. And like months later, people would like follow me on if I blocked them on Facebook, they would follow me on Instagram to start yelling at me again. It's like, come on, guys. The odds are my kids will survive. And if not, well, you can always make more kids, I guess.
It's true.
Yeah, I remember it's always changing with the car seats. Like my oldest boy, was like, yeah, we put him in the front facing car seat when he's 2 or 3 or whatever. And then the next one, it's like, oh, not until he's 4 or 5, and now we got a 12-year-old that's still sitting in the back, the back facing.
Yeah, if your kid is under, if they're not 30 yet, they're in a car seat now. Those are the current rules. I mean, and you think about too, like when I was a kid, like they were like, oh, you're supposed to have or when I was a baby, the wisdom was you have a baby sleep on your stomach. They're like, oh no, your baby is going to die. You got to make them sleep on their side. And they're like, oh no, that's going to make them die. Like we're just over time through the generations rotating babies around. I'm sure pretty soon they're going to tell us to have them like sleep on their heads in a headstand position or something. It's the only way to keep them alive.
Yeah, I always want to know, like, how did the human race get here? Like, how did we manage
make it this far
before all these tiny detailed rules? For like, every baby would have died.
You had to figure we have a default for survival. We must be pretty good at it because humans lived for hundreds of thousands of years before anyone wrote a parenting book. Like, what about all those generations? How do we even get here? It's just shocking we all didn't get eaten by giant bears or something.
Well, let's talk about bears. So Ethan has written a book called Bears Want to Kill You.
Oh.
And his basic message is bears will kill you, but go out in a blaze of glory anyway. Mm-hmm. You seem to be saying that you can survive the ostrich attacks. So are bears more dangerous than things like ostriches?
Bears are the very first animal in the very first chapter of the book, or the first chapter with actual dangers in it after the introduction. Yeah, I love the bears in this. And there are some good survival tips. Basically, you got to get the bear on your side because otherwise they're an unstoppable killing machine. But they're very unmotivated. Because you got to remember, so they run faster than us. They can outfight us, they can outclimb us, they can outswim us. Like if they wanted to, they could be the dominant species on the planet, but they're not. They have so much power that they just go and they're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go sleep for 3 or 4 months. And I'm so terrifying that nobody will mess with me. Imagine being so far up the food chain that you could take a 3 or 4 month power nap and nobody is going to touch you. So that's what they've done with their ambition. So it's all about understanding their motivation when they come after you. Don't mess with that power nap. And if they do come for you, it's probably because they're protecting their cubs. You've got cubs of your own if you're a parent, so you got to get on their side. Show them that you are suffering as a parent just as much as they are. And maybe rather than getting mauled to death, you guys can just kind of gripe back and forth and then go your separate ways. So there's a lot of ways that can play out, but I'm very optimistic it's possible to survive.
Well, I always wondered why aren't there hunters who, if bears take these long naps, why aren't there hunters who just go out into the forest carrying a pillow and they just sneak into the cave and then just smother the bear in its sleep?
I've got to imagine the hunting seasons are organized to accommodate that, but I can't say for sure. I've never hunted a bear. I like to stay safely in states where bears don't live, so I can talk about them from a distance.
I like to think that at like Bass Pro Shop, they have all those throw pillows, and that's really what they're for. Like these guys go in there trying to find their pillow to go smother a bear with.
Can you imagine like how many man points that would be for smothering a bear? Like the manliest thing I ever heard of somebody doing with a wild animal. There was a buck during like rutting season. It came through somebody's plate glass window because it saw its reflection, and deer are stupid. And it burst into the house, and it couldn't figure out how to get in. So this guy, he was like in his 60s. He managed to lock this buck with antlers and everything. He managed to lock it in the master bedroom. And then he hears the deer just bouncing around, and they're destroying everything. And he thinks to heck with this. I'm not going to let this deer destroy stuff. So rather than keeping it trapped until animal control goes back, he went in and wrestled it to death. Can you imagine wrestling a buck to death? Like that, the fact that he did not get stabbed to death, he wins the man contest for all time.
So to the buck's death, not to his death.
Yeah, no, Had he died in the process, I still would have given him man points, but that would be a very different lesson from that story.
That's the other kind of hunting I'm curious about. If hunters like hid in trees, and then as the buck walks by, you grab its antlers and twist its neck and break the neck, like ninja hunting.
I think that people who oppose hunting would be okay with that then, because you're kind of on even footing, if not a disadvantage.
Yeah, it's a little more even.
Like if I had a buck and a human like in a boxing ring, I think I put my money on the buck. I think unarmed, I think humans are pretty screwed.
Yeah. It's true. So you write a lot about fatherhood. Tell us your fatherhood story. Did you always want to be a dad? Did you always see yourself becoming? Because you have, is it 4 daughters?
Yes,
3 daughters?
I have 4 daughters. They're 9, 7, 5, and 4. I'm very proud of remembering that because kids keep changing ages inconveniently.
Yeah, it's constantly changing.
It's hard to keep track of. I can barely remember my own age, but I got to remember theirs. I always wanted kids. I'm the oldest of 7 kids from a big Catholic family. I wanted, when I was a senior in college, I was 22 or 21, and that's when my youngest brother was born. So that's how far of a spread we have there. I didn't want 7 kids. That seems like a few too many, especially given the quality seems to diminish after the first one. I was obviously the best child, but we wanted a big family. I always kind of figured I would have 4 boys, and I ended up with 4 girls because that's what happens when you make plans. But it turns out girls are pretty awesome. So we had our first one in 2010, and then I started tweeting about them in 2012. So I had built up a lead of a few kids before I kind of put it on the internet. I used to blog. Blogging was dying. I couldn't go anywhere with that. And then I kind of started writing these jokes, this format of back and forth conversation with my kids on the internet. And that's ultimately what started growing my Twitter following. It would eventually made me go viral. So people could ask, why the heck do you have 1 million followers? And I can't give them an honest answer. We all just kind of scratch our heads and wonder.
Yeah. I think every man kind of thinks about, the son they'll have, and they don't really think about what being a father of a daughter would be like.
Yeah.
And I know for me, it was really kind of eye-opening because I have 2 daughters.
Uh-huh.
And I think a friend of mine said this, but when you have a son, you think that's, you think your son, that's my son. But then when you have a daughter, she's like, that's my daddy. Like she possesses you. But it's in a really special way. You're like this. It feels much more heroic. I don't know, but my relationship with my daughter is something I never could have described until I had a daughter.
Yeah, below a certain age too, they're kind of androgynous. People ask me, "Are you going to try again for a son?" Well, first of all, if I kept doing that, I'd end up with 95 daughters. It's just never going to happen. No matter how many tries we get, they're going to be all girls. But it's not like you're a failure as a father or a man if you have all daughters. It's just you created this human being, you raise them as best you can, you try to protect them from ostriches, and you move on. I taught them, to teach them all the important lessons, how to protect themselves from zombies, how to love Star Wars, all that. It's just they also like the Disney princesses too, so try to raise well-rounded human beings as best I can, who hopefully when they're adults won't blame me for all the problems in their life. The jury's still out on that one, but I'm optimistic.
I like when people say that, like, are you going to try for a boy? Yeah. I'm like, well, how do
Yeah.
How do you try? Like, wear a Raiders hat or something?
Yeah, wear monster truck underwear.
I messed up last time. I was so close to a boy, and I just botched at the last second. This time I'll get it right.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's weird too, like to have family planning conversations with strangers. Like, you know why they do it, because they see you, they know nothing about you. Like, you're standing at the park, there's another parent, all they know about you is that you exist and you have kids. So the next logical question is, well, are you going to have more kids? Or are you going to have a boy? But at the same time, it's like, really, you're kind of asking about my sex life there. I don't know if this is what a conversation I should have with, a guy I met in the park 30 seconds ago. But hey, it's 2019 now. All the information's out there. Everything's on limits now.
Yeah, all the conversations my wife had with complete strangers. I'm like, do we have to talk about this? This is weird.
Moms are in a whole...
I can't say any of them on this podcast.
Yeah, with moms are in a whole different league too. I mean, not only are we talking about like bodily fluids of the kids, but moms will talk about breastfeeding and all this kind of stuff. And with people, it's like, you don't even know this person. Who is this? But you can't say that as a guy. You just got to roll with it.
I didn't realize how psycho people are about breastfeeding until I became a parent also.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Wow.
So tell us how you're involved in breastfeeding, Ethan.
Yeah.
Emotional support.
Okay.
And that was...
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, in my second book, it's called, it's another lengthy title because I, just have to do that to make life as difficult as possible. It was called Bare Minimum Parenting, The Ultimate Guide to Not Quite Ruining Your Child. And it was kind of about all these conversations, the arguments you get in with people over car seats, over breastfeeding, over whether or not you're going to be a stay-at-home mom or dad, or you go to work. Like, we act like these are the most important decisions in a child's life. But do you ever go up to like a 40-year-old and be like, I bet your mom breastfed you, or you're only succeeding because you went to a good preschool? Like, eventually we all kind of average out into being mediocre adults. And that's what I remind myself of all the time. Like, it doesn't matter if I get my kids into the very best of this or that, because ultimately we all just kind of average out. And chances are we're going to be who we're going to be, or at least that's what I tell myself so I can sleep at night.
Yeah, you have to constantly just kind of dial back what I think you have this perception that you can form and shape your children before you have them. And a lot of people that don't have kids really think this.
Yeah.
Like, you see people on Twitter, like, they'll take a picture of someone else's kid in a line at like the airport and it'll be like, control your kid, lady, or whatever. And it's like, there's no controlling your kid. I mean, within some boundaries there is, but when they're in no mood to be controlled, they're not going to cooperate.
Yeah.
Unless you resort to like extreme physical violence, and you just can't.
And you have to think
in this day and age.
Yeah, and you have to think about your own life too, because it's not like, we think that we are the most important factor in our kid's life. It's like, it's all on us. Right. It's all up to us. But you look back at your own life, it's not like I'm only who I am because of my parents and I had nothing to do with it. It's all on them. If mom would have breastfed me for another 2 months, I would have been so much better. It's nice. We're like, oh yeah, they helped me get out of the, to a certain point, but then I made my own choices. I have my own interests on my own person. It's like our own kids are going to be that. It's kind of the ultimate act of narcissism to think that as parents, it's all up to us. But really, kids have free will too, and on some level, they're going to do what they're going to do.
I just had kids so that I could quote them saying adorable things that support my political views on Twitter.
Yeah, I love those tweets. The more complicated, the better. It's just... Yeah.
My kid came up to me and said, Dad, why is there a Federal Reserve that controls all the monetary systems in our country?
And then he cried, and I held him close.
And then everybody clapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. My kids are only vaguely aware there's a world outside of YouTube, so you will not be getting any of those tweets from me here.
What YouTube streamers do they watch?
Oh, everything that's terrible. They used to be hooked on the unboxing videos where kids open toys, and it drove me crazy. They would watch videos for toys they already owned. Like, why don't you go and play with this toy I bought you?
It's so weird.
Then
my youngest ones do that, and then the older they get, then they start watching other kids playing video games they already have.
And I've gotten on them before. And at some level, it's like, well, I don't want to go out and play football, but like, I'll watch people play football on TV, so I get that. But at the same time, I don't have a stadium in my house that I can go play with. Like, you have this game, you own this game, just go play it yourself. And I feel like a good parent when I force my kids to play video games now rather than watching other kids. We've fallen a long way from the days when we got sent outside in the morning and just told to play outside all day.
Yeah, and I noticed Target is now, they'll sell like the little kid YouTube streamer, the branded stuff. Like there's a Ryan's toy review or something.
Oh my!
And they'll sell the little toys that he opens, or he does a little surprise egg thing, and they sell the surprise eggs, and my little toddler's like, oh, Ryan. It's insane.
I actually get sick to my stomach when I look at that. That kid is just. I mean, he's worth like $20 million. He makes like $20 million a year playing with toys, and it's like apparently I didn't exploit my kids enough, because it's like you guys aren't bringing in $20 million a year. What's going on here? And the crazy thing is like, so we've got all these channels, all these streaming services, all this stuff. The stuff on YouTube is such low quality. Like my kids watch this running commentary with like this guy in a Guy Fawkes mask, like the Game Master or something, and it's like okay, these have the production values of a couple college kids like putting together an independent film at the last minute. And they're making, millions of dollars for this stuff. And it's like, you have professionally produced like Star Wars movies over here. You're not interested in it. And it should inspire me to be better, but really it just makes me bitter that my own YouTube garbage doesn't make as much money. I'm not going to try harder. I'm just going to whine about it.
Yeah, I feel like I should be morally opposed to it, but really, if I'm honest, I'm just jealous that I didn't think of this.
Exactly. That Blippy guy, he's out there just like pointing at trucks. And like, man, every time I see somebody strike it rich on YouTube, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm a failure.
We should start a Blippy support group.
Garbage trucks. Garbage.
My son is obsessed with Blippy. And if you're a parent and you haven't experienced Blippy, then you're lucky.
Yes.
But Blippy dominates YouTube.
It'd be nice. Guy. We're gonna try to get him on.
I would like to get him on. I'm curious to know what this guy's real life is like. But yeah, so he has a song about garbage trucks, and my son, who's 2, discovered garbage trucks through Blippy and excavators and backhoes. And so now all week long he asks me when the garbage truck's coming. We have just every day we talk about the garbage truck until it all builds up to Monday when we're going to take the trash cans out to the street. And he'll sit in my lap and he'll stand up or he'll completely like standing up straight, super energized.
Fists in the
air and like Braveheart. He's like, it picks up the trash can. It dumps it. Yeah.
Running commentary.
Picks up the blue. And he's talking about it the night before. This isn't while it's happening.
Wow.
He's telling me before bed, super energized. And then so this happened this morning, every Tuesday morning. It's almost like the second coming of Christ. He like hears it coming. He's like, it's here. He runs out in the front yard and he's just like jumping all over the place and he's going full Pentecostal.
Wow.
Because the garbage truck is dumping. And he's going, it's dumping it. Yeah. That's what he yells.
That's why I don't get people who like they take their 3 or 4-year-olds to Disney World. It's like, 1, they're not going to remember it. And 2, in the moment, you could have saved thousands of dollars and spent like 25 cents taking them through the car wash. They are so easily amused at that age. Just go for the free entertainment.
Yeah. Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that age. 2 is a waste. Don't take your 2-year-old to Disneyland. You're a fool.
Don't take your 2-year-old out of the house. They're basically wild animals at that point.
Yeah. Well, the whole house is fascinating to them. They don't need to go anywhere.
Absolutely.
Maybe the playground. Since we're talking all this dad stuff, what do you guys think about playgrounds? I've always hated them.
Really?
I like playgrounds.
The only thing I get now is that it's nice to have your kids be distracted by them, but I hated them as a kid.
What was the specific what was the thought process behind that? Did they do something to you? Was there a traumatic injury there, or you were just bored?
I think I just felt like I was like I felt like I got it. Like, oh, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to tell me how to have fun. Like, oh, we set up these things and you play on them. The bars, we swing on them.
You're questioning the systemic norms of going down a slide.
Like, what am I to you? Some kind of animal? It's like when you give a hamster a little wheel and it's just like, oh, I will run in this now.
So were you happy with like just big open sections of woods, or did you frown on all physical activity?
Okay. I grew up near the woods and I love the woods.
But if you found out somebody planted those woods for your enjoyment so you could exercise, you would have hated them.
Yeah, if all the trees were the same.
Yeah.
You're like, man, don't fall for the system, kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's like all punk rock.
Man wants us to go on these swings.
I love that you were taking down the establishment at such an early age. That's it boded well. Yeah. Did you try to like tell other kids not to fall for having fun? Did you act?
No, because now that I have kids, I get it. I'm like, oh yeah, go have fun. Go out there and have fun. But they still find like the 2-year-old doesn't play on the little playground. He goes and plays on the big playground where he's climbing super high, and if he falls, he'll die. So I still have to go over there. I can't just sit there on my phone like I want to.
I admit there's there's a real sweet spot. Like there's an age where they enjoy the playground, but it's like they're too young, then they're falling off, and they're too old. My oldest, he just sits under the slide and reads when we go to the park. So
and you have to have the chance of death. Like if you go to a real, modern, safe playground, the kids know they can't get hurt. They lose interest. You gotta the best ones are like they have the old rusty slides with like no sides on them, so you could fall and break 3 or 4 bones at once. Like that's where the thrill is. I just watched a video about a guy who climbed a giant mountain in Yosemite like without a harness or anything, just because he needed that adrenaline. I think kids want the same thing when they go to parks. That's why the first thing they do, they don't go up the ladder, they go up the slide backwards. And the sooner they can fall off and hurt themselves, the better.
Yeah, but all these new parks, all these new playgrounds like have electronic games and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Have you guys seen this?
I have not.
What parks are you going to?
I guess I live in a ritzier area. Ritzier area.
The one with all the holograms and everything, apparently.
All the new parks that are built, they have like solar-powered like electronic drums on the playground structures, and they have pianos and little Simon Says games and stuff everywhere.
I've never seen this.
I would ask where you live, but I suspect there are armed guards to keep people like me out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to get by the butler before you can experience that part.
Is it just because it doesn't snow here? We can like get away with that?
I guess. But I do agree there's something that's more natural about the big rickety we went to a church once we started going to, and the playground was like when you
the original one.
When you do the swing, it's like the entire structure starts to tip.
Yeah, it wobbles with it.
And there's splinters everywhere, and that's a lot more natural, I think. So you draw comics, and I want to say that your style is it's like Picasso if he had access to Microsoft Paint.
My drawing is terrible. The actual inspiration behind my characters is the symbols on the bathroom for men and women. I just I can do that. You look at that, that's a man, that's a woman. That's as much as I can draw. And I do all the drawings in Google Drawings. And I told myself someday I would learn how to draw and do something better. But like there's so much of a gulf between like what actually looks good and what is kind of passable. You can tell what it is. I thought I was better off focusing on being bad in the same way every time, so it looks like a style, rather than teaching myself to actually be good at it. So I'm gonna have these bathroom stick figures forever. But I know I've got I've got 3 books out now. 2 of them have these stick figures on them. They pretty much are all that's on my Instagram feed. And then I've got a guided journal for kids coming out again that has it in there. You can sort of tell what stuff is, and it takes me like 10 seconds to make each one. So it's mass produced garbage. It's like the YouTube strategy, but it actually worked for me. So I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about how you get so like annoyed with these kids shows on YouTube. Well, I'm this guy that I learned how to draw like the hard way.
Oh, did you really?
And I draw real comics and stuff, and you're killing it on the internet. So I never should have done it. I should have just stuck with stick figures.
Your mistake was getting good at something. Never try. That's the Homer Simpson lesson right there.
Because once you do that, you're competing with even the best in the whole world. Right?
Yeah.
So if you just stay.
Yeah,
if you compete on the level of just stick figures, then
you
just got to be funny.
People like if you draw a face on something, like, well, that face doesn't look quite right. I can't laugh at this joke. If you just don't give them a face at all, they're like, okay, I guess I'm okay with that. So and I even I was so because I have a website where I post them too. I was like, I have to let people know that I think I suck, so I can just head off that criticism. So I think I called it unbelievably bad. Like that was my starting point. When you start down there, it's a lot easier to lower people's expectations, and so far it's been working. So we'll go with it.
That's a great marketing idea. Someone's like, "Oh, unbelievably bad comics. Let's see how horrible these are." It's like, it's not too bad.
What could they even say to me to insult me at that point? You just got to take it away from them.
These aren't bad enough.
Well,
make them worse.
Absolutely, I could. I'm sure I could. If you actually, my stick figures used to be a little worse. I figured out now. I've been using that free Google drawing program, and long enough, I can draw more complex things. Like this last book had unicorns and mammoths and dinosaurs in it, all that stuff. And I start to worry. It's like I'm getting a little too ritzy here. I'm gonna lose my roots. So I have to go back to the bathroom stick figures sometimes just to keep it real.
You have to go back to the gym where you trained in.
See my original sensei. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to, as our family expands too, you always have to add stick figures. For the first book, like the header on my Twitter profile is all us, and we're doing the same poses on the cover of my first zombie book, where everybody is holding some kind of weapon that's definitely inappropriate for children their age. And then we got 2 pigs now, and so my latest book I had to put the pigs on the cover. People would wonder where they went. So I'm learning how to draw new animals just as we acquire them and add them to the family.
But you have pigs?
We have 2 pigs. I'd call them mini pigs, but people freak out when you use the word mini. They go, there's no such thing as mini pigs. But, potbelly pigs are mini pigs. They're not a full-size pig if you let it, usually you eat them at, 6 months to a year. But if you let it go to 3 or 4 years old, they'll weigh 500 pounds. My bigger pig, who's 3 years old, is probably about 70, and she comes up to 70 pounds, and she comes up to my knees. And then the other one's just over a year old, and she's a little smaller than that. So, yeah, they're house pigs. They go in and out through a doggy door. They sleep in my daughter's beds. I have not managed to work that tip into a parenting book yet, but I'm sure I will. Let your kids bond with pigs. It saves some problems. Keeps them very warm. Cuts down on the heating bill.
But are you going to be eating them at any point?
Oh no,
or these are
pet pigs. We live in town. They're just like potbelly pigs. They're
just for like milk.
That's the Meet the Fockers line. You can milk anything with nipples, but no, they will not be milking these. They are 2 girls, though, so I've got 4 daughters and then 2 female pigs.
Wow.
Wait, what made you decide to just get 2 pigs?
I always liked them. My dad was a pig farmer when I was a kid. Then he hurt his back, and we moved off the farm. And, so kids early on, they want to be president or they want to be an astronaut. I wanted to be a pig farmer. That was my goal in early life. And I guess I just never really grew up. And later in life, I found out about mini pigs, and I was married, and we had built a fence for the dogs. And I thought, you know what? There's nothing stopping us from getting this, except I was married. So there definitely was something stopping us from getting that. And my wife forbid me from spending money on a pig, but she did not forbid me from getting one for free. And so
from stealing. From stealing.
Exactly. Well, I didn't even have to steal, although it was practically a steal. I decided, I'm going to use my useless internet fame for good for once. So I reached out to pig breeders, and I found one, and I said, hey, if I give you social media promotion online, will you give me a free pig? And they agreed. They said, if you get us enough likes on Facebook, we'll give you a baby pig. So I went out and appealed to my followers and said, hey, help me endanger my marriage. Let's do this. And I have never seen the internet come together so fast. And a week later, I had my free pig. And my wife, she cannot say no to a good deal. So this is an expensive pig, for free. And it's like, I think I could use the same logic. Like if I found like a baby rhino that was like, free, I think I could probably take it home if I convinced her it was like 1,000% off or something. That's the line.
That's amazing, because I was listening to this whole thing thinking, I actually always wanted a pot-bellied pig, but I know my wife would never go for that.
Have you?
And the money and the expense, but yeah, if I convinced her that I got an amazing pig coupon,
yeah,
she'd be totally on board. I got amazing pig Groupon, and then she'd be like, "Oh, buy it. We saved. Imagine the amount of money we saved on the thing we were never going to buy."
You have you considered leveraging your Babylon Bee fame into it? I mean,
I have to find out if they'll let me.
If any listeners have access to pigs that they can give Ethan, farmers? Please, let us know.
What I really want is a pet possum.
Oh.
I always wanted a pet
Those
possum.
things have some teeth on them.
I get this image of you, James, that you're like in this house 5 years from now, and you have all these pigs. You have like hundreds of pigs.
They keep showing up in the mail.
and your wife's standing at the door with a suitcase, and she's like, "It's me or the pigs."
Oh, there was you know what? It almost came to that point with pig number 2. So convincing her for pig number 1, I couldn't use the same trick again. But there was like a farm down in Kentucky somewhere that got like too many pigs, and they just like abandoned the farm, and too many pigs turned into like 500 mini pigs, and they were all abandoned.
Oh my God.
And these rescue agency went in there, and they like had hundreds of pigs to give away. And I told my wife, I was like, we gotta get one of these. We're gonna be saving a pig's life. It's the right thing to do. And she's like, you want to go and get a feral mini pig that's never been in human contact and is full grown and bring it into the house? And I was like, yeah, it's a great idea. It was not a great idea. But then when I found another pig we could get as a baby, this one wasn't quite free, but it was almost free. And when compared with like the giant feral pig that would kill us all, the baby pig that was pretty cheap seemed like a good idea. So that's the key to a happy marriage right there. Always push the worst alternative and then pull back a little to what seems like the better deal. That's how you get 2 pigs.
That's the same marketing strategy from your comic.
It is. I guess I'm kind of a one-trick pony. Now I feel terrible about myself.
unbelievably bad pig or kind of okay pig.
Yeah, and it turns out she is the better pig so far. The bigger pig has been in this house long enough. She's getting smart. So she's like the raptors in Jurassic Park. They never attack the same spot on the electric fence twice. They go around testing it. So she's been working her way through the cabinets. She figured out how to, the ones that swing horizontally, she figured out how to pop them open with their snout. So we had to put a child lock on that. Then she figured out how to grab drawers with her teeth and pull them out. And she's been working her way through them one by one. I've never gone through and child-proofed all the drawers at once. I pig-proof the house just like I child-proof it. You just wait for something to go wrong, and then you fix that one particular thing, and you pretend like nothing else will go wrong. And the other day, there's this giant drawer that's so heavy my kids can't even pull it out. And she grabbed it with her teeth and pulled it out and ate an entire bag of barbecue chips. So she's rapidly escalating her break-in skill level. At some point, she's going to just lock us out of the house, and this place is going to belong to her.
So, what do you guys?
So many questions.
What do you guys feel about? What do you guys feel about these people who kind of they consider their pets to be like a child?
You have to not have children to think that.
Yeah,
I think.
I guess
people that don't have kids and they have 2 dogs are those are my babies. I have to commit all my time to my 2 dogs.
Fur babies.
Yeah, my fur babies.
And I don't doubt the emotional commitment. I'm sure they feel like that. But I feel like I don't even love my kids as much as some people love their dogs. Oh, my gosh, I got to get home. My heart just fills up when I get home. And it's I bring my kids home and they just scream at me why'd you pick us up from daycare? I was having fun. It's man, this is, parenting, there's a whole new level of psychological warfare going on there at all times. And, your pet is never going to grow up and surpass you. You don't have to worry about that. You're always at the top of the food chain. I don't feel like that's always the case with kids. There's an added challenge level there.
Well, your dog is never going to have an emotional breakdown because you took away the iPad.
Yes.
Or whatever. It's always going to worship you. You take away the iPad, it's going to go, oh boy, thank you for taking away the iPad too. It doesn't care. It worships you no matter what.
That's how it talks.
And I sound like a good parent on the internet. You don't tweet about the crying and the temper tantrums so much unless they're funny. If they're just sad and demoralizing, you don't put them on there. But in public, I look like a terrible parent because I've got 4 kids and I would say they cry an above average amount. I haven't taken a poll. I've done no statistical analysis here, but it seems like they're at all times at least one of them is crying. And people always say they're oh, my daughter has me wrapped all the way around her finger. My kids have cried so much it has lost all emotional impact on me. And so I'll be out in public and one of them will just be bawling and so other people are oh, aren't you going to comfort her? It's no, we are so over this. Socks are not worth crying about. I'm just moving on with my day. I look heartless, but it's effective.
Yeah, I have an issue with mocking my children too much when they cry.
Cry some more, baby.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. That's good. More drama. Bend over.
My go-to move.
Make a fist.
Yeah, I tell them go cry somewhere else. Which if I somebody saw me do that on a YouTube video, would be the end of my career. But here in the privacy of my own home, it's no, it's effective. It's go cry upstairs. Whatever you're doing, it's not going to change my mind. Then when you're done crying, come back here and be a person. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But good thing is there's 3 other kids. So out of the 4 of them, I'm sure at least one of them will turn out right. That's why, people who have only children, man, that's a lot of pressure. You got to get that one kid right. There's no do-overs there. I couldn't do that.
No, I think that's a bad idea. People that have only one kid, my advice, you need, because they start helping each other out and taking care of each other. You can't having just one kid.
Oh yeah,
they focus on you. Because they got nobody else to play with.
And then you always got to have a friend over, and you have to be nicer to the friend than you are to your own kid. You got to clean up the house, and a lot of pressure there. And if you can only have one kid, that's fine. I understand, but don't think that one kid's easier than 2. I think 2 and up is easier.
Yeah, exactly. Though I do think it got real at 4 for us. I was like, okay, now we're fully outnumbered, and they're spread out from teen to 2.
Oh wow!
I got a 13-year-old to a 2-year-old, and so they're going through all different levels of drama.
Wow, you've got the Godfather mode there. The Godfather 3. Just when you thought you were out, they pulled you back in. So we got our youngest is 4 now. They're all potty trained and out of diapers. When we go out in public, we don't have to have a diaper bag. I told my wife, it's I can't go back. When you're done with, for a while, we always had 2 kids in diapers, and changing diapers was like breathing. It was no big deal. But now that it's done, it's I can't go back. I cannot start changing diapers again. And when I have one of my nieces or nephews needs his diaper changed, they're I don't know what to do. Don't look at me. I've never done this before.
Yeah, I fantasize about the day that I can take our car seats and all our diaper materials and things out into a field and just beat them with a crowbar and burn them. And that will be the end of it. I cannot wait.
They will be eaten by feral pigs.
Yes.
Did you go the minivan route too, or did you go for the SUV?
We got the fake. It's like basically a minivan body, but it just has an SUV front to make people think we're cool.
I gotcha.
And sporty.
So
it's the Acadia.
I went all in. I embraced my uncoolness, and I had to justify it too. So my first book about surviving the zombie apocalypse, I wrote an entire chapter about how a minivan is the ultimate vehicle for defeating zombies, and I almost convinced myself to believe that. So you are on the opposite side. You are the SUV enemy.
I actually kind of, because I had a minivan before I had kids when I was in a band, and I was a youth pastor kind of. I was a youth group leader, like young life. But I was always hauling kids around and then equipment, and I loved my minivan.
You don't realize how much they can haul when you take it out. Like I had a 7-foot taxidermy bear I gave as a prank gift to my brother at his wedding. It was dressed in a tuxedo, but like to get that thing there, minivan, man, you just take out the seats, you lay it down, you can stick literally anything in the back of a minivan. Like you could transport like a Saturn V rocket back there. There's room.
When I had my minivan, I worked at a sign shop, and I professionally did lettering for vehicles, vinyl lettering. Yeah. And so I made those letters for people that, you'll see someone has like a Trans Am, and then in like old English letters it says like Trans Am across the windshield, or whatever cool their car is.
Whatever Civic, classy things that
whatever
they have
cool
like
thing.
That.
Yeah, like gangster cars. So I put minivan in like chrome old English letters across the windshield of my minivan.
That's very respect. Cool. I gotta say, I admire that. You were the alpha of the minivan world.
It. Exactly.
Well, now all the seats actually fold into the floor. And I remember when growing up, my dad, we would go play hockey at the park or whatever.
When you got to take them all out.
And he'd take them all out, lug them into the garage, throw in all the hockey nets and hockey gear.
So heavy.
Oh, yeah. Ours are half and half. The back seats fold down, but the middle ones, like I think one of the car companies had the folding middle trademark, so none of the other car companies can do it. So you still gotta pick them up. And like I try to work out as much as I can. I always think I'm getting stronger, doing all these push-ups and pull-ups, and then I go and pick up one of those stupid captain seats. Like nope, not any stronger. I've made zero progress.
It's not moving. Yeah.
It's just because it's bulky and awkward. It's
That's
not because you're
the ultimate guy line. It's not heavy. It's just awkward.
Yeah. All right. Well, if people want to follow you, Mr. James, where should they do that?
You can find me on Twitter at Exploding Unicorn without the E. I'm on Facebook. Just search for Exploding Unicorn on there as well. On YouTube, you can look for James Breakwell. Or if you want to find my latest book, you can go to Amazon or your retailer of choice and type in James Breakwell, or search for my latest book, How to Save Your Child from Ostrich Attacks, Accidental Time Travel, and anything else that might happen on an average Tuesday. It will probably protect you on other days of the week as well, but I have not tested those days, so don't try it out just yet.
Beautiful.
We didn't even get into the time travel. I guess it'll have to be next time.
Next time.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Breakwell.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. Good talking about
you. Until next time. What a pleasant interview with James Breakwell. His name should be James Chatwell, because we enjoyed chatting with him.
Pleasant is the exact word that I would use, Ethan.
Is it?
Well, a lot of times we interview people that are involved in very serious things, or like I mentioned, are a lot smarter than us. And James might be smarter than us.
Yeah, but he didn't wear it on his sleeve.
With the space, he condescended to our level. He was able to come down and say, okay.
It was light. It was very light compared to many of our
And that's
chats.
nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to just goof off and be stupid.
We don't have to worry about politics or...
Yeah, and we have to talk a lot about pigs, which I always like talking about pigs. Yeah.
Speaking of pigs, some people sent us some hate mail, and we're going to read it now.
I really miss Adam Ford.
All right, a good old hate mail. We got some simple hate mail here.
All right, this is from someone, and she says, "Stop sending me your satirical junk."
In quotes.
And that's in quotes. I like the scare quotes. It's like we called it satirical junk.
It is weird, that it's in quotes, that satirical junk is in quotes.
Like,
maybe it'd be quote, yeah. Maybe she meant to quote just satirical. Because it'd be like if she said, "Stop sending me here," and then quote unquote garbage. It's like, who quoted it as garbage and why? Yeah, it is confusing.
Well, it's almost as if we labeled our own site satirical junk. It's like Babylon Bee, satirical junk you can trust. Yeah. And she's like, I don't like this satirical junk.
Well, we're sorry.
Sorry.
We'll stop sending it to you. Did we stop?
Yeah. We're gonna go to some positive stuff now.
I like people that don't click unsubscribe. They send an email. It's like, take me off this list right now.
Yeah.
They have to like have that human interaction.
The old people always respond and say, unsubscribe.
Yeah. They imagine somebody typed that up for them and hit send that morning.
Why do you keep sending this to me?
Who are you? Are you in my house?
They're just evil people that just type things to them all day. All right, let's do some positive stuff. Here's some love mail.
Love mail.
Let's do some love mail. This is an Apple Podcast review.
This is a very good one.
Do you want to read this one, Ethan?
All right. I don't know what his voice sounds like.
That's okay.
This is a great review we just got. He says, thank you guys. Wait, I think it's a he. Yeah, JB Garcia. Thank you guys. I've come out of a very dark and impersonal world of sin and darkness. When I was genuinely converted, I became a dark and impersonal Christian, and it was so horrible. I didn't even really want to be a Christian because of what I was turning it into. But after hearing this podcast, it has totally changed my view on everything. I can be a Christian and have a sense of humor and enjoy movies and humor, and being a Christian can be a joy. Thank God! 3 exclamation points. Keep up the awesome work, guys.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah, that's warming.
Warming, just a general...
A warmth feeling.
Is there any particular body part?
Mirthy.
It usually says heartwarming, so I was wondering.
Like mirthy sounds like mercy with a lisp.
Head warming.
It's just my general chest and belly area is warmed.
Warming.
Yeah.
Jolly belly warming.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what I wanted this podcast to be when we talked about doing a podcast. I mean, like we said, we've tried different formats. We tried doing satirical things, make it real funny, and we tried other stuff. But just chill out, everybody. That's what we want. You know, we're Christians, and we talk about Christian things. We talk about non-Christian things, and it's okay to laugh.
Yeah, just an environment where it's just not weird to be bringing up your faith in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
I know that before I became part of the Babylon Bee, I knew I really wanted I wanted to meet the guys behind this. I would love to sit in a conversation. So when I came on, I was very excited to make a podcast and be part of that. So all these podcast reviews give us warm fuzzies.
I think there is a concept like before you're a Christian, you know, you're having a lot of fun and stuff, and then you become a Christian, and God's like, well, time to stop all the fun.
That's true.
Looks like the party's over, you know, that kind of thing. And I think what's cool about becoming a Christian is that God makes you into the person that he always wanted you to be, you know, and now you're enjoying things to his glory. You know, he redeems a lot of those things.
Yeah, and you're kind of standing back from everything, and you can kind of have a sense of humor about it because you have an overall picture of where things are headed. You're not sitting there thinking, I have to, you know, the president is and the politics and the
I know. Can you imagine being like a nihilistic atheist during the Trump administration? I mean, that's why those people are so freaking out about it, because it's their everything.
Yeah. Or if you're
it's their only hope.
If your goal is to create a utopia on this earth and to then every single thing that doesn't go towards that, you're freaking out about it.
You can't laugh about it.
Heaven and hell are constantly at war on the earth, like in this reality, and you have no idea who will win.
Yeah, it's possible that everything ends in disaster.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in God and Christ.
Yeah. So.
And the great white throne judgment.
The great white throne. Yes.
Okay.
I need to go use the great white throne after this conversation.
Oh gosh, that's gonna get cut. And here we go. We're gonna cut things off, and we're gonna go into our subscriber portion. So if you want to get full-length ad-free podcasts, go to babylonb.com/plans, and you sign up at any level, and you can get access to a full, gigantic podcast. So much content you won't even know what to do with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be
shiny stuff.
You can drive into downtown LA for traffic, and you still have content left. Well, maybe not.
I don't know.
Depending on where you're going from. But
you can always listen to it again, or listen to it on 0.5 speed.
Yeah, listen to it super slow. Like you have to listen to Ben Shapiro to understand him. That same speed. And anyway, so subscribe to get the full thing. Even if you don't, please drop us a review on iTunes. Share us with a friend. Tell them how the Babylon Bee podcast has changed your life.
And warmed you.
And body warmed you. It's a body warming cast. All feedback and love mail go to podcast@babylonb.com.
Yeah, and you can even try to send questions and stuff. Send anything to podcast@babylonb.com.
And I think we're still looking for Christmas stories.
Yeah, we need Christmas stories. Funny ones, Christmas scary special. Ones, weird ones.
Any Christmas thoughts or stories or whatever you have, send it to podcast@babylonb.com. We're going to have a heartwarming time by the fire.
Aye.
If you want to keep up with Ethan, go to on Twitter. You can go check him out at AxeCop. And Kyle is at the easy to read handle at Kyle
_ man. I think we should do that in unison this time. Kyle _ man.
See you
yes, we'll see you next time.
See you guys next time.
Kyle and Ethan would like to thank Seth Dillon for paying the bills, Adam Ford for creating their job, the other writers for tirelessly pitching headlines, the subscribers, and you, the listener. Until next time, this is Dave D'Andrea, the voice of the Babylon Bee, reminding you to go forth and impeach Satan from your life.